Gang of four. We're going to meet the gang and talk about the big news stories of the week right now on News Talk 550 KTSA, and then we're going to head out to our Riccardi Party listener lunch with our winners and our listeners at the Magnolia Pancake House, owned and operated by Robert Flemming. Robert, good morning.
Top of the morning, my friend.
So it's like a whole theme thing.
Yeah,
you come to our house and then we go to your house.
Everybody eats when they come to my house. Don't forget that.
Nobody eats when they come to my house. So how's everything with you?
Everything is fantastic.
Yeah.
World couldn't be better.
All right.
You know, living the life and loving every minute of it.
You kind of need a haircut.
Yeah, I know. I was going to put a scrunchie in it today, but, you know, I just ran out of time.
How are things at the restaurant?
Rocking.
Yeah. Now, I hear that prices are going up on all the stuff that restaurateurs need.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
you feel
Yeah,
that
we're getting hammered.
pressure, and then the gas prices are going to go
Come
up.
on, that worries me the most because it really kind of cuts into you know, people's income and their ability to spend, and we're getting beat up on prices. But you know, I just as I have in the past, I'm holding the line. You know, I'll take a little bit less to you know, keep my business rocking and rolling. I'm not a greedy guy. So, you know, I'll
Well, you're packing them in over there, we know
We'll
that.
try.
And we're going to pack in with them at 12:30 with our winners.
We got a spot for you.
All right, so Robert Flemming's on the gang today. Also here today, I don't know what he's doing over there, is Cary Clack.
Mechanic work. Yeah, microphone keeps.
We're not going to pay you for that.
Okay.
Cary Clack is the
It's
lead
droopy,
columnist for the...
It's not a this is not a metaphor. It's a microphone ET today, folks.
I'm not feeling too hot today, are you?
Somebody give that microphone a Levitro right now.
Yeah, apparently, Cary, that microphone is not excited.
Need to work on your technique, my
Here
friend.
comes Don will know what to do.
Yeah, raise it up and let it right there.
There you go. Thank you, Don. Appreciate it.
Droop
All right.
naturally.
So how are you, Cary Clack?
I'm doing good. Just fine, man. Good to be
Better until now.
Yes.
What's going on with the column? What are you going to be writing about this weekend?
Sunday. There's a gentleman who died this week named Early B. Till, Air Force veteran, but he was also used to be president of the Buffalo Soldier Association.
Oh, yeah.
He was a storyteller. So the column is about him, but basically just about the power of story and the value of good storytellers.
All right. So Cary Clack is with us today, and you can read him. It's three times a
Sunday,
week, right?
Tuesday, Thursday.
In the Essay Life section
Yes.
of the Express News. And the judge is here. Steve Hilbig, former Bexar County DA and now judge in the State Fourth Court of Appeals.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, good morning.
Good
Maybe
morning.
approach the bench.
Yeah, come on up here.
What's new?
Not a whole lot. Just
You're an outdoorsman. You like to go out and see nature up close and personal.
I'm withdrawing from my Big Bend. I need to get back out there. We're going to try to get out there.
How long has it been?
Oh, it's I guess last April.
Wow, that's a long time for you.
Yeah, we went up.
Have they been calling?
Yeah, I hear the flowers and everything calling. And of course, we were up in Guadalupe Peak in September, so I got a chance to test my mettle against the mountain and found that the mountain won. But
You could be like a good reality show, like
I don't think so.
Drop Steve Hilbig in the middle of any situation, see how he does.
I look horrible in a bikini.
No, I didn't mean that. That's why they asked the creators of Survivor if they would ever go to a cold weather climb to test people's survival instincts and abilities and teamwork, and they said no because we couldn't put the woman in bikinis, which I thought was an honest answer. I mean,
but they did say they would huddle together, which might lead to a different.
Yeah, you can't put that on network TV.
I guess so.
All right, so here's our gang today: Robert Flemming, Cary Clack, and Steve Hilbig. Let's talk about the Middle East. It's on fire. We just mentioned that in terms of the oil prices with Robert Flemming. Can the United States and should the United States be sitting on the sidelines as people in Libya, for example, rise up against one of the most brutal and evil and anti-American tyrants of our time? And as the Libyan people are doing this, and I must say, impressing the world with their capability against these foreign mercenaries, should they be getting neutrality from the United States?
I find our position in this whole thing just perplexing as all get out because, we didn't waste any time throwing Mubarak under the bus, but we sure have done a very poor job of even just telling the Libyan people, hey, we're with you. Go get them. If this is what you want, we support you. Just nothing, and I just don't understand it.
Well, not to support what the president does, but I think there is something to the idea that you have to be careful about how much you get involved, because then if it looks like that the result comes from what the U.S. wanted, that then denies some legitimacy to it, I think.
But in Egypt, I mean, we were quick to condemn,
Oh, I agree.
you know, and here in this situation, you know, we're sitting on the sidelines.
I think we just have to be careful to make sure that whatever results is not seen as being the product of the United States or desires or the desired outcome of the United States.
But do you think that so many times, though, it doesn't really much matter because they're going to put their own spin on it, whichever way they want?
Sure.
I think just for whatever reason, the administration tends to be slow with these kind of things. I thought they were very slow in 2009 with Iran. I actually think they got Egypt just right because I don't think they rushed into it. I think they were very subtle. I think it was clear that they were with the demonstrators, but there was stuff going on behind the scenes. But I thought they handled that right. And I would think though that it was harder to get Mubarak out than Gaddafi. So I don't know why there's a delay. I think eventually they'll get it right. I don't know if it's because of his obvious mental instability that they're worried about that. But yeah, I think they are a little bit too slow on this, or at least letting the Libyan people know that they're with them. I think they'll get it right eventually, but they have been slow on this.
They called for a transition in Mubarak's case.
Yeah.
They have yet to say that about Gaddafi. The president hasn't even mentioned Gaddafi by name.
Yeah.
I don't understand, Steve, why the United States can't say what outcome it would like, and I don't see how anybody except a propagandist could turn the story into this is some big U.S. plot. I mean, that would take 9/11 trutherism
No, I
for
guess-
people to believe that the Tunisians and the Egyptians and the Yemenis and the Libyans, that we've somehow organized all this.
No, I'm not going to that direction, I guess, and I may not have expressed myself well, but I think you don't want to end up with a regime that looks as if it's the puppet of the United States. And that's what I meant. And so in terms of, you know,
I don't
do you
think you
go...
have anything to worry about there.
Yeah.
Which is one of the things they got right about Egypt, because of holding back. But with Gaddafi, he's so obviously insane that there's nothing to be lost in demanding that he leave. And again,
No, I agree, but I guess my point is like, okay, so you're saying arms or whatever, give them arms or send them.
Well, let me advance this a
signal.
little further. It's not only the cause of people fighting for their freedom, but we have the recently, I guess he resigned, justice minister in Libya, who says Gaddafi personally ordered the Lockerbie bombing of Pan Am 103 in 1988. So I don't know, how much more do you need as the United States, no matter who the president is, no matter what the foreign policy is? I mean, come on, you can't come out and say, we are with the people and we want this guy to go. How hard is that to say?
That's what makes it strange.
Tear
though.
down this wall.
That's what makes it strange, because it shouldn't be hard to say. And again, I don't know what's going on behind the scene, but the fact that it would be so easy to tell this guy of all people.
Well, you know, I wonder, sitting here listening to it, I wonder if there's kind of a correlation between our lack of support of Iranian dissidents, our lack of support for these Libyan dissidents, but our jumping in the Egyptian, because in Egypt we had close ties with their military since we trained them, so we knew that no matter what Mubarak said, the military was never going to unleash on the citizenry. However, we know in Iran and in Libya, you know, those guys control the military and clearly are not afraid to unleash them on their citizenry, which I think really means that we should take more of a proactive role, because we know that they're not afraid to turn the dogs loose on their own people. You know, we should have instituted a no-fly or told them, if you send one jet up, we will shoot them down.
But I guess that's where we're getting to. So what is the end game? In other words, do you send in troops? Do you go in and send a SEAL team to take out Mubarak? I mean, not Mubarak.
See, here's the thing, Steve. We didn't fire a shot in the Cold War, but we made it, a succession of administrations and presidents made it clear to the people behind the Iron Curtain that if they did the heavy lifting, if they did what they needed to do, we would be there waiting for them, supporting them, trading with them, recognizing their new governments, aiding their democracy movements as best we could, using our embassies essentially as democracy franchises to promote democracy from within. None of those governments, Poland, Hungary, none of them are seen as U.S. Puppet regimes. I know it's a different region and it's a different culture, but I don't know. I feel like we have dropped the long-standing American tradition of speaking out for like-minded freedom-seeking people. In this entire multiple-week affair in the Middle East, we've completely missed it. And to me, the silence is deafening.
Well, and make it clear, though, I think that should be done. I guess I was looking more towards, are we talking
You don't have
about
to fire a
providing
shot.
arms?
We
Are
didn't fire a shot in you.
Well, to make it clear, I didn't know if we were talking about providing arms, going in and taking them out in a military action or whatever, and those are the things that I'm concerned about. Before you said tear down this wall, that was my thought. I mean, if this was Reagan, he would have already been on national TV, in essence, making a similar statement to encourage the people.
Is that because he was Reagan, Cary, or are we just a different country now that doesn't have as much confidence in ourselves?
I don't know. I think I'm one who thinks that Reagan many times gets misinterpreted by both the right and the left, and that I think Reagan in many ways, and I was never voted for him for president, but I think in many ways he was much more pragmatic than both folks, especially my side liberals will give him credit for. And I'm still struggling with our delay and I do believe we did get Egypt right. And my only thing with Gaddafi again is that with him, I could see him doing something with chemical, well, like what Saddam did, unleashing chemical weapons upon his own people.
Oh, absolutely.
And I may be wrong, but I'm thinking that's the only.
When his son is on the television saying blood will flow in the streets if this doesn't stop,
the Libyan people by being silent.
I don't see how we are. I don't see how we are.
I'm not following that.
I'm not saying that. I don't know myself. I just wonder if it's obvious. It's not instability. It's not even the right word. It's insanity. Maybe a reason why there's some blockers in the road.
I agree he's dangerous, and I agree that he's making dangerous threats. However, again, historically, we have spoken up to that. We have not, and it really hasn't ever worked that if you just sort of mollycoddle a dangerous dictator, he becomes less dangerous. In fact, Gaddafi almost fell several years ago, if you remember. He got very panicked after we invaded Afghanistan and Iraq and very nearly capitulated then.
And like the true grifter he is, he's like, oh, okay, I need to change the way I play it.
Yeah.
And he came out with his mea culpa and all blah,
Made a deal.
Yeah, and he cut a deal to keep his hide in power.
You can even go back further. When Reagan bombed him and killed his daughter, he changed then. He became a little bit, quote unquote, moderate.
And maybe the path is Iraq, and I hate to say, well, we're going to duplicate all our mistakes in Iraq, but I think you give the people the space to do it on their own terms. But if he gets to the dangerous situation where he's taking the military directly against his folks, and then I think it takes time for the United States to step up militarily.
We'll talk some more about this and many other things with our gang, but first it's 10:21 on News Talk 550 KTSA. It's 10:26 on News Talk 550 KTSA. Jack Riccardi Show starting Monday. Our new hours 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Lots more money in the paycheck as a result of that.
Glad to hear that, Jack. Glad to hear it.
So on the gang today, the judge Steve Hilbig, the columnist Cary Clack. I said columnist, I'm communist. And the keeper of the cakes, Robert Flemming from the Magnolia Pancake House.
That's good.
One of you mentioned Iraq and our experience in Iraq, and if we start standing up for the Libyans, are we going to wind up bogged down in a war? Let me ask you something. Let's say we had never done the invasion of Iraq, and Saddam Hussein was in power today. Would Saddam Hussein be one of those on the brink?
I'm not so sure he would, because I think he was so totalitarian. He really crushed it. Now, I always get confused on, was he a Shia or a Sunni? I can't remember. But I know that he was in the minority side of it, but he certainly kept the people down. I don't know if he would have or not, because they were not. I don't think their society, from what I've read, was as educated or as westernized. I mean, Iran, by contrast, has a much more educated society, and they are a little more westernized.